Northwest Iowa. And so we never really talked about politics. But what happened in the 80s? I went off after working in a slaughterhouse in my dad's machine shop and construction lab, or an expert in mathematics with a bunch of other college students. My mom made sure that we knew how to do school. So the short of it is, some years later, I'm on ships with people like Jeff, good Americans from across all walks of life. That we weren't Democrat, we weren't Republican, we just wanted to get the job done, period. End of discussion. Do it with a high degree of efficiency, efficacy, not the same, professionalism, and empathy. Key safety tip for all elected officials. And in the 80s, we went to Lebanon. We had some bad issues in the military. Lost a lot of soldiers, Marines, and Navy people. And then later on, kind of to cover that up, we did an invasion of Grenada. What the hell was that about? And I knew that one too because we were involved in that operation. I get involved in a lot of these operations. And then this invasion of Panama. What was that about? Remember that? This is Ronald Reagan. Covering up from one thing, covering up for another, and covering up for another. And then there's this savings and loan debacle. Remember that?
Yes.
More money lost during the savings and loan debacle of the 80s than lost in the recessionary downturn in 2008.
Wow.
Remember that?
No.
No safety net. Republicans were in charge. Live and die by our standards, by our relaxation of some regulations that let savings and loan invest in real estate, speculative stuff with no FDIC parachute, and people lost their money. My parents lost all their life savings. American Savings and Loan in Sioux Center, Iowa, got 19 cents back on the dollar like a decade later.
Wow.
That's Reaganomics. Besides the enlargement of government, the enlargement of big corporations, and the increase of debt. So let's make sure we know really what happened in the 80s before we are all glamming over the beauty of the Trump years. And for comedic relief today, I read, in accordance with this website, and they went through chronologically the things that Trump did. And then I stopped reading because I get exhausted. It's like reading War and Peace. Only it's all, oh my gosh, oh my God, oh, I forgot about that. So in my service, long time, 39 years in uniform, I stepped aside when Donald Trump was elected. I was Obama's chief of legislative affairs. Early on, I worked with Ted Kennedy. Interesting Ted Kennedy story. I knocked on his door as a Brookings fellow saying, I've been asked to get hired by a senator. Would you hire me? I'm a physicist. I've never been to Boston, really. I don't know anything about politics. He said, sure, come on in. The first question, he sat down, he was smoking the very end of his Churchill cigar, which was a big goo of spittle by that time at 11 o'clock in the morning, which is kind of a Churchill Havana cigar. If you know the Kennedy Church history, it's kind of funny in itself. And he says, hey, did you know my brother? I said, your brother John, the president? Yeah, I read the book. I saw that he was in the Navy as well. Oh, so I want you to come work for me. That was Ted Kennedy's funny story. I thought he was goofing, but he actually was serious. He wanted to know if I knew about John F. Kennedy. I did indeed. Had a great introduction to politics. How to really care about your fellow humankind. Unmistakable. And I learned through many years, being a senior military person on the African continent, the United States, a number of other occupations, being a land forces commander in combat, commanding officer of a ship, and a whole bunch of other jobs, a lot of policy and strategy, both of the Republicans and the Democrats. I learned that the most valuable thing to know is to care about those you've never met as much as those you know. There's a couple things you can count on with me. Today or yesterday, there was another shooting in Illinois. 20-some people shot. I would expect a military-grade rifle was used, semi-automatic, picking people off from a distance. random. At various times in my career responsible for the U.S. military operations, conventional side and some soft side in Yemen, Somalia, Libya, Central African Republic, Niger, you name it, right? None of those countries, Afghanistan, Pakistan, none of those countries hold the distinction of America has. You know what that is? The number one cause of death of school-age children, firearms. Let that sink in. This is our America. Now, nobody's going to gunsplain me in the world. Nobody. Been around them since I was a kid. Made a life of it. Time to change, folks. This laissez-faire. Somebody says, hey, Franken, don't take on 2A. I'm not taking on 2A. I'm taking on irresponsible gun ownership. Make no mistake. In the manner where a small sliver of society makes great profits at the cost of all of us. Yeah. Education, health care, large wage separation, haves and have-nots. These are issues that are being fomented by the Republican Party. I don't mean to be so negative about this. We've got better ideas. When asked in Northwest Iowa, why, for heaven's sake, are you a Democrat? In a bar one night with a bunch of college students. I said, well, wait a minute. Name for me a Jeopardy moment, one initiative. The Republicans have done in your lifetime, your parents' lifetime, and your grandparents' lifetime that promoted our society. Name one. You're all college students. Jeopardy moment. Go. And they were dutiful. I had my commanding officer hat on. And I said, okay, time's up. Clean air, clean water, 1972, Richard Nixon, that threat of veto. And someone said, well, that's good, right, Admiral? Vetoed by Donald Trump. Set aside. Listen, you're in college now. You were born into a religion. You were born into a thought process. You're born into a political dogma. All of that's fine. But you're now at the age where you think for yourself, for the next generation, for your progeny. Women, for your progeny. Think about it. From women's suffrage to rural electrification to the GI Bill to on and on and on. Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid. Democrats pushed those initiatives. Democrats made that happen. That's our legacy. So leave here, do one thing for me, please. Okay, do a couple of things. Number one is don't be shy. Be nice. Speak to those around you. Why is it that you feel that way? Leave your perspectives of our president aside. Who do you want in Iowa? Vote your pocketbook. Vote your progeny. Vote what's best for your family. What's best for your neighbors. Vote what's best for those people around you. What is that?
Democrat. Democrat.
And vote for your pocketbook. If you're a union worker in this town, if you're a person who lives next to a union worker, those wages are a tide that brings everybody up. Ride that union wage. You can do this. And don't back down. Okay? We're in the right here. I'm going to go to Washington, D.C. Some Democratic congresswomen. I hope 3. My expectation is 3. And I'd like to be badgered by Governor DeGier all the time about more that we should be doing. And I'm okay with it. Joe, where are you? I love love you, Pat. And I would like you to help with the Iowa Democratic Party to fix up their buildings. Because we're in this to stay. We're in this to win it. So thank you all. Good to be